This map illustrates the reach of the British East India Company across the Punjab in 1857. During this peak of colonial expansion, railroad surveyors were boring test shafts deep into the soil to prepare for a massive new transit network. Near the village of Tarn Taran, a routine survey went wrong. The ground gave way, opening a void that swallowed 3 workers instantly. 2 were eventually pulled out, shaken and speechless, but the 3rd man vanished into the darkness and was never recovered. Edmund Cartwright, a British surveyor on the scene, insisted on investigating the collapse himself. Despite a group of local Sikh elders forming a human wall to block the site, Cartwright managed to lower himself 30 feet down into the chamber with a single torch. We know the details of what he saw from a private letter Cartwright wrote to his brother, which remained in a family archive until 2019. At the bottom of the shaft, his torchlight hit a passage wide enough for 2 carriages to pass side by side. As he moved deeper, Cartwright found iron hooks driven into the walls at precise intervals. Hanging from them were helmets, rusted, ancient, and unmistakably Afghan. He stopped counting after 200, and the tunnels still stretched beyond his light. This discovery presented a historical impossibility. An organized, massive subterranean armory of Afghan military gear sitting directly beneath territory the British believed they fully controlled. To find the origin of those helmets, we have to go back to the winter of 1762. Ahmad Shah Durrani, the most feared conqueror of the 18th century, was camped outside the walls of Lahore, facing a tactical crisis. Durrani was struggling to suppress a decentralized band of Sikh warrior saints. Unlike the armies he crushed at Delhi and Panipat, these fighters would not surrender, nor be drawn into a decisive final battle. He had attempted to break them through extreme violence, including the Vada Galugara massacre and the repeated destruction of the Golden Temple. Yet after every slaughter, the Sikhs seemed to vanish, only to reappear months later with more recruits and renewed strength. Durrani's intelligence officers eventually confirmed the method behind these disappearances. The Sikhs had constructed a secret network of underground tunnels stretching from Lahore to the foothills of the Shimaliks. These passages were built in total darkness, under an unbreakable oath of secrecy. They were deep enough to shelter entire villages from Durrani's raids and wide enough to shift whole units of cavalry across the Punjab without ever surfacing. The existence of this invisible fortress meant Durrani could never truly hold the territory. For a man who relied on psychological dominance, an enemy he could not see was an enemy he could not destroy. Driven by the need to reclaim control, Durrani launched a desperate countermeasure in the spring of 1763. He deployed 12,000 of his most elite, battle-hardened Afghan veterans into the countryside. Their mission was singular: find the access points to the tunnel network, seal the entrances, and return to Lahore. The entire army vanished. 12,000 soldiers, their horses, and their gear disappeared without a single survivor returning to Kabul. No mass graves were ever located, and not a single piece of armor was found on the surface. The Durrani Court Chronicle, written by his royal historian, dismissed the loss of 12,000 men with 4 vague words: lost to the wilderness. In the 1820s, British historian John Malcolm noted the entry in his own records, writing that such an account could not be true. The math of the disappearance simply did not support the official story of a lost unit. The historical records finally aligned in 1857. The rusted Afghan helmets Cartwright found hanging in that dark tunnel provide the only physical link to those 12,000 missing soldiers who marched into the earth a century earlier. The morning after Cartwright's descent, the local response was immediate. The Sikh elders who had tried to block him the night before remained at the site, refusing to let anyone else near the opening. They moved with a sense of permanence, rapidly filling the test shaft with concrete and sealing the entrance to the tunnel system forever. The East India Company chose not to escalate the tension. They buried Cartwright's incident report so thoroughly it never appeared in official logs, leaving his private letter as the only surviving evidence of what lay beneath the soil. Today, that patch of land near Tarn Tarn remains under the protection of the local community. It is recognized as sacred ground, guarded with the same intensity Cartwright encountered in 1857. No modern excavation has ever been permitted. The Indian government, archaeological universities, and international researchers have all been barred from reopening the site or scanning the ground below it. Somewhere beneath the modern landscape of the Punjab, a passage may still stretch into the darkness, holding the rusted equipment of an army that walked into the earth and never walked back out. The greatest unsolved military disappearance in South Asian history.